Hello, brothers and sisters. Today I'm gonna share to you how our guild works sometimes with the divine names of the All Father, the divine name Othin, Othin. It also sounds good, Odin. Some say Othin, Othin. We know younger Futark and the Pros Edda and the Codex Regius was written in younger Futark. Those are the Viking Age runes. And in the younger Futark poem, with four lines on a verse, on a stanza, there is at an ending a planetary attribution, maybe the only one that is pretty old planetary attribution of the runes. Not the one that the modern rune masters from past century have done, which is a salat of all the influences and their own opinions about the runes, but more likely an attribution of runic nature that is more akin with the original tradition, let's say. So the Tours rune is a Saturnian rune. So it is Saturn. The Os rune is a Jupiterian, Jupiter rune. So when you put the two together, for those that know a bit of astrology, and the rune masters knew their astrology for sure, they worked with constellations. They draw the power of the constellations and the stars of the constellations in their workings. So Othin means the joining in together of the most harshest, roughest, but most powerful polarity between Saturn and Jupiter. In modern astrology, Saturn is called the big Satan. Okay, the Mars is called the little Satan, though. Uh, just as a joke, but still, come on, it's a joke. And Jupiter is called the God, the Father, or the All Father. So joining all thing. So basically joining in the forces of Saturn and Jupiter. The forces of maximum expansion, Jupiter, together with the forces of maximum contraction, Saturn, or discipline. So working with this divine name will allow one to act in the world while he's deeply focused on the divine in himself at the same time. Focusing means that one can be the ruler of this plane while he's also the ruler of the inside plane too. And then these are the two runes in the name that give you the most power. Othin, Othin. And then we have obviously the is rune in the name and the node, the necessity rune. So at one point in life, it becomes a necessity to cultivate deeply our will and balance our inner polarities because the little polarities, the smaller polarities is Mars, Venus. The basic polarities are Sun and Moon. And the greatest polarity is Saturn, Jupiter. And obviously, Mercury, which is Odin himself, too, balances between these polarities. So the divine names are actually polarities. What we teach in our guild and what we practice openly is activating through the usage of the divine names. Absolutely. So thought Nietzscheans. Well, I love a Nietzschean person. When I see the person, hail to you and fire and ice. It is the correct. But also, think about this since you came to this channel. Think about this. So, we actually, emir means sound, and it is formed at the middle distance between fire and ice, Muspelheim and Niflheim, right? So, in the formation of the primal being, it's actually one of the greatest secrets of Galdor that we also practice in our clan. Basically, we are a clan of runasters. Let's put it this way. So, uh, think about this: your mouth is a small universe. Oh, see, only when you look about this, only the word the rune tours, the T is formed in the front of the mouth, almost at the teeth. Yes, and the H is deep in the oral cavity. So only this can tell you how strong this Saturnian rune is, basically. And yes, fire and ice for sure. Fire and ice. Yeah. So chanting the divine name OTHIN is not for everyone. You can do it in a blot. You can do it once in a while. You can meditate with the runes. But there is a certain way to work with this divine name that if you're not ready for it, it can have secondary effects. So all the divine names of Odin have main effects, secondary effects, and neutral to harmless effects too. But it depends. You need to know, even in the Prose Edda of Snorri Sturluson, uh, I don't like to feel the need to say this every time. It has its Christian influences, as Snorri Sturluson. Maybe it wasn't the greatest when it came to actual lore and stuff like this. And a lot of lore was actually lost to time. Doesn't matter. It is said there with the dialogue of Gylfi, the Gangleri, and the three aspects of Odin, the high one, uh, the same high one, and the third. It is said that the one needs a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom to work with the divine names or to understand them. So what we are doing in our clan is actually understanding the divine names of the All Father in a way in which I have not seen in any author, I have not seen in any book. So far, I have read, and most of us, we have read a lot about the modern authors, and there are great modern authors out there. I always encourage everyone to visit everyone and check everyone up. But working with the divine name Otin will give you the experience of the tree of Yggdrasil. Working with the divine name Otin will give you, if you are subtle, if your perception is acute enough, because working with the runes needs a very acute perception. Your senses are sharp. When you're working with the divine names, uh, something happens inside you that you will get to see after some time. Not in a way in which you have worked, because I also worked the practices of modern rune masters and whatnot. But definitely, I have not seen rune masters so far putting to use the divine names of Odin like we do, putting to use in the initiatic sense, like steps, like subtle understandings of what each and everyone does, you know. So OTHIN brings you to the door of initiation into the runes as a divine name. But it's not going to make your life easier. If you're not going to balance the aspects of in and out, it's not going to make your life easier at all. This divine name. It is like the divine name eager. The divine name eager, if you're working with it, is not going to make you likable by people. Some people can get scared of it. Their subconscious mind can freak out really bad if you're working with that name. It makes you pretty tough though, as a main effect, but at the same time can scare the shit out of people. Only with your presence. You don't even have to say a word. So another name of for Odin we know, Eager, the terrible one. But if we look at the name Eager, the terrible one, what do we see? We see the Isa, the Kaunuriun, put into motion. So fire and ice, like our friend said here, again, fire and ice, again. So as you can see, uh, the divine names are keys of access to states of consciousness. They are ecstatic vehicles. They are vehicles of ecstasy, those divine names. Like the Forni one, the ancient one as a name, or a very nice name, Hangatir, the god of the hanged people, because basically Odin hanged himself on the tree of life. So Hangatir gives you a willpower able to do a high ascetic practices regarding the runes. Or Oder, the inspiration. And there are many other things. For example, we know that Freya is the wife of Oder, right? So basically, what people don't know that practice the runes in the modern days is when you're invoking an aspect long enough, you're going to attract the pair of the aspect too. So if you're working long enough with Oder as a divine name, definitely you're going to attract Freya at one point as a vibe, as a counterpart, you know? So if there are any questions regarding what was said so far, let me know. As you can see, we are doing, we have, we dig deep when it comes to practice, when it comes to practicing of the, from the Edda, from the old grandmother of knowledge, Edda, what of Odin, Wotan? I love your vibe, man. Don't know who you are, never spoken with you before, but you have a devotion to Odin. I can feel it. There is inside you a devotion, and you like this one too. You like this name, Wotan. Wo. It is a very powerful devotional name. For example, Odin ignites in the soul the power of deep introspection, deep self contemplation. But when you chant Wotan, here you connect with the, let's put it this way, the heroic aspect of Odin. The one working with Odin or Wotan ignites the heroic spiritual, the spiritual heroism, let's say. The Tyrion is always about self-sacrifice, no? And we have here two very strong vowels, O and A. O, the front of the mouth, A, back of the mouth. So there is a journey from the exterior to interior that passes through self-sacrifice under the rulership of the necessity. Because every divine name, especially this one that I like a lot, of course, it is a journey of transformation. It is a journey of self-sacrifice. So yes, I worked with this or wodanaz. Wota. It's summoning from the womb of your soul a power meant to aid you in heroic deeds of spiritual nature. Very powerful, very powerful. And it has to do with the odic streams in the blood. Let's put it this way. This is one of the names of Odin that awakens the blood memory. Kind of strong. And not in only one person, but actually it's a collective effect kind of a name. Very nice. So I like the fact that you brought this version of the name too. There are many versions. I love it. This one I love it a lot. Definitely. Yeah. So although we don't we didn't work a lot with this name, but it's a pretty strong one. Hello, hello. Hail to you also. What is the relationship between Jotuns and Aesir Vanir? Huh. How are the Jotuns different from the two tribes in the sense of the power and the names? Thank you. Well, if we look at the divine name Othin, what do we see there? Thin, it's actually a name for the Jotun. So when we are working with the divine name Othin, we are actually creating in ourselves Jotunic energy because Othin is a Jotun. So Aesir and Vanir and Jotuns have the same blood. They have around the same kind of Otic signature in them. And they are mirrors of each other. That's why they die at each other's hands in Ragnarok. That's why they cancel each other out at Ragnarok, like yin and yang thing, like fire and ice thing. Because the Voluspa starts with the fire and ice creation myth and ends up with another kind of fire and ice, the Ragnarok. Because the supreme creations of both polarities come to meet up yet again and cancel each other. And only their children survive Ragnarok. So, in the exoteric sense, they are enemies. Even Aesir and Vanir were enemies. The first war between the gods in the Voluspa was not between Aesir and the Jotuns. No, there was before between Aesir and Vanir, and they exchanged hostages, Skadi and Njord situation. Come on, you know, very deep stuff. Very deep stuff. According to some authors, definitely Aesir is connected with the air and fire elements, and Vanir with the water and earth element. So, at an exoteric level, they are enemies. At an interior esoteric name, they are relatives. They belong to the same family. So, the Jotuns have a deep tribal nature. They aren't bad guys, as we like to think about the bad guys. Okay, they are actually very wise. Alvis, come on. Look, a divine name, all wise, all wise, all knowing, all wise, is one of the names used by one of the names that Odin himself contented with in a story. So let us say that the Jotun names are about atavic powers, and one needs to be careful with them. Jotun names are raw powers, and Aesir names are more higher, refined powers. So, in the sense of the power of the names, a divine name of a Jotun can wreak havoc if it's not met with the proper refinement stages. Okay, so there are Angrboda, Angrboda. That's a tough name to swallow as a practice, or even Ymir himself as an ice giant, the primordial being who was at the root of the polarity as a being, when the polarity started to get awareness of itself a bit, Ymir, through the sound. So the relationship between Jotun's, Aesir, and Vanir, it is the relationship between all the elements of creation or all the elements of existence. It is the relationship between the elements of all the nine worlds. It is the eternal dialogue between the nine worlds, each and every one of them. So, in a sense, your question involves everything, basically. It is a question about everything and requires an answer about everything also. But if I am to go the Skaldas Kaparmal and see how the Jotuns are seen there, you're going to very fast understand that the Jotuns are atavic emotions, atavic powers inside us. And do we, as humans, children of Heimdallr, have both polarities of fire and ice, or are we more inclined towards one side, or we should choose the balance between? Very good question. In actuality, it is not only about choosing the balance, it's the equilibrium. Because balance, it's not harmony. It's still a state of flow, up and down. This is balance. Equilibrium is this. The scale doesn't move anymore. It's harmony. Balance is not synonym with harmony. And children of Heimdallr, if you read the Lay of Heimdall or the Lay of Rig Lay, you would soon understand there that they speak about caste system. There is a reason why the caste system is put into place by Rig there. And of course, we have the both polarities of fire and ice, and not only fire and ice, but all the scale of polarity is definitely reflected into us. So our practice needs to be one that, for example, I'm gonna tell a very nice story. The myth of poetry, the elixir of immortality, was created by two dwarves in a very weird way. It was taken to the Jotuns and kept safe, stolen by Odin and given to the Asgard guys back. So basically, in the most important state of enlightenment called the mid of poetry, the Jotuns and the Aesir had a role to play. So when it comes to reaching the highest goal of human existence, the elixir of immortality, spiritual immortality, the Jotuns, Sutungur is a Jotun and he guards the elixir. It's nice he guarded the elixir until Odin came to stole it, but still, because of Sutungur, the elixir was stolen by Odin, not by other entities or archetypes. Okay? So balancing between them, just let the story unfold and the balance happens naturally. What you look forwards to is equilibrium. Equilibrium at higher and higher states of frequency. Because Odin flies in his divine form as Arne Hofdi, flies to Asgard with the elixir. So it brings the energy to a higher level from the Jotun level. So definitely when we speak about Jotuns, we speak about primeval knowledge that can be used for both good and bad, quote unquote. I think I answered your question. Yes. All righty. Are there any more? Because we already enter subjects that we usually talk to in guild or clan chat. But you guys have asked such beautiful questions that it's a good idea to, let's say. All right. All right. Thank you for your presence here, my friends. See you at the next video. Hail to you.